Hey everyone, I am back with another one of my own experiences. This one happened probably about 15 years ago now. I was living in Connecticut at the time, and the house I was living in had two floors. Upstairs was my mom's room and my two sisters' rooms, and downstairs was a dining room that was open to the living room, and then off of the dining room was the kitchen, and then it was my room which connected back to the living room. And in the dining room, there was a window, and we had a path between a cabinet which had glass plates and cups in it and the kitchen table. And this experience happened probably 5 or 6 times, and it always happened the same exact way, and I was always sure that I was awake every time I saw it. I would occasionally decide to sleep on the couch instead of my room, and I would be laying there trying to get to sleep, and I never could. And I would look over on these times, and I still remember what this person looked like vividly to this day. It was a woman standing there staring at me. She was probably about 5.5 feet tall, about average weight, and had hair that came down to her shoulders. She was wearing a pink shirt and she was wearing blue jeans. Every time I saw her, I got this overwhelming feeling of just pure fear and terror. And she would just stand there, staring at me with this piercing gaze and this big evil smile, and you could see the pointed teeth in her mouth. I always got the feeling that she was feeding off of this fear and terror. I had the feeling that if I moved, it would just be inhuman speed. She would be right next to me and she would kill me. So it always felt like an eternity, but in actuality, each time it was probably only like 2 or 3 minutes that she was actually there. After the last time I saw it, I finally got the courage to get up and investigate afterwards. She would stand there staring, and then she would turn and just glide into the kitchen. And after she glided into the kitchen the last time I got up, I looked at the window. It was still locked. There was no signs of entry. So I went into the kitchen and I looked around and there was nothing. So I went into my room to see if there was anything, and there was nothing. So I go back out into the living room, pull the covers over my head, and just laid there until the end of the night. After each experience, I would go to my mom and I would tell her what I saw. And she would tell me that it was probably just a nightmare. The only problem with that is I knew for a fact that I was always awake. And I almost never remember dreams and nightmares either. Usually they'll fade a couple hours after I wake up. But I know for a fact that I was awake each time. And the crazy part is, about 5 or 6 years later, after we moved out of that house, I brought it up to my mom again, and my little sister, who was 5 years younger than me, she was only 5 or 6 at the time. I brought up the house and the woman that I used to see, and without giving any details, my little sister chimed in. She was like, I saw her too. So I asked her to describe her and where she saw her. My younger sister described it exactly the same way, and she always saw it when she decided to sleep on the couch. So I personally believe that last time when I got up and investigated, It was saying, "You're no longer welcome here. We don't want you here." And I think that was a way of standing up, because after that it stopped. And it randomly stopped for her too after I did that. And I honestly never found out what it was, but I personally believe that was demonic. But I can't say for sure. What do you guys think? Do you think it was, or do you think it was something else? But until the next time, have a great night, and always remember, it's not the dark you should be afraid of, it's the things that lurk in the dark that should give you pause. This is Crimson Knights, signing off.